Hi, this is our Google Hangout with Frankie, Shannon and Rosie. So I'm just about to show Shannon and Rosie what I've done from task 1 to 2. So let me just screen share what I've got up so far. So just let's share that. Right, so at the moment I've got open the advantages and disadvantages. Have you seen that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right. So I've used the advantages and disadvantages on a PowerPoint. So it's just about the free social media task. So it's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I thought PowerPoint would be a good one to use on this one because you can just write short little analysis of the advantages and disadvantages, and I thought it would be good to present as well in a as a presentation to Maria. So
How did you find adding like verbal things into it? Obviously, you haven't added a verbal voiceover into it. Do you think that's quite easy to do, or?
I haven't actually done that just yet. So, but I think I'll do a screencast-o-matic on that one. So
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, so I'll just screencast the whole of the PowerPoint and just talk over it, and then I can send it to Maria, and then it can be like a verbal presentation like that way, rather than having to do it in front of the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea to use PowerPoint. I hadn't done that, so it's interesting to see what you've done.
Okay.
Interesting.
Cool. Right. And now this is my how-to guide for digital information business. So this was the definite. So what I'm going to use, what like type of information it is, the definition, best presentation method, best communication method, why it's the best presentation method, and why it's the best communication method. So on this one I used Word because I thought, because I've got a lot to write, I think Word is like much better for that, and it's can be like a how-to guide, so it's kind of like a leaflet type thing. So I used Word on that occasion. I haven't actually got task 3 and 4 on this laptop. It's actually on the college computer. But task 3 we had to use an Excel spreadsheet, and in task 4 we had to track changes and write comments alongside the report that Maria sent us. So I used Word in that one as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think like the advantages and disadvantages of the things you used are?
So I think the advantages and disadvantages of using Word for the how-to guide. One of the advantages is that Word I can write a lot more on than I can on a PowerPoint, and it's more suitable as well. Disadvantages is maybe I'm not quite sure actually what the disadvantages of using Word for the how-to guide. Maybe that the table doesn't look as nice as what it would on a PowerPoint presentation or on Excel.
Maybe it might be maybe depending on how it was presented, you wouldn't really be able to present it on like a board or something.
Yeah,
because something that you printed out or emailed to someone. Maybe that would be a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Are you going to print out a booklet to for your advantages, for your how-to guide?
Yeah, so I'll print out the booklet, and that's for the how-to guide. And then for the advantages of using PowerPoint for the social media task was that because obviously we don't want to include too much information, we don't want to bog down when we're doing the presentation, and we're supposed to be doing a presentation, so that's like the best format, best application to use. A disadvantage is that you can't write too much, so you're really limited to what you can write, and I feel like I've already wrote quite a lot there, whereas like I could write so much more on a Word document. I think
good work.
I think that's all I can say about those two really.
Yeah, the things you have written are really good, and when you do your verbal voiceover, you can always just briefly analyse what you've written as well. So I think that's a good thing as to why we've been allowed to do a verbal presentation. So then you can just go over it slightly with verbally.
Yeah, with extra detail. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. Right, well, I'm going to stop screen sharing now because I've done mine. So, Shannon, do you want to do yours now?
yeah, sure. I'll start showing you. Ready?
Okay, Brill.
Okay.
Thanks, Frankie.
That's okay.
Brilliant. So can you see my screen now?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I can see your screen.
just 1 second. Yes, I can see your screen.
So it's the types of information.
Yeah, so this is my how-to guide on the types of information for a business. I also used Word. I thought it was really helpful. You can do headings and make it look slightly more interesting. I made it as though I was going to email it to colleagues and things like that, just so it's quite easy to read subheadings and things like that.
Mm.
Again, the advantages are that it's really easy to write with. It's quite easy to understand clear headings, so you can just look into each one. It's really easy to understand Word is. A disadvantage to this would perhaps be, again, like we said with Frankie, maybe it just wouldn't be able to be presented to a large group on screen. It would be best to print out or email to colleagues. That's the only disadvantage I can really think of with Microsoft Word.
Another disadvantage you could say to that is that when you said print it off, that could cost a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. So that can be costly.
And you can end up writing too much information until, the whole booklet gets boring to whoever is reading it.
Yeah.
You can get carried away with writing information. It's not short
Yeah.
and snappy, that's true. So, yeah, that's what I thought of Microsoft Word. Another really good thing is that it counts how many words you use for things like essays. But from a business point of view, it's really good to send out to employees or colleagues.
Yeah.
So this is my verbal presentation. I used Prezi for this. So I didn't use Microsoft PowerPoint. I thought it was really interesting. I found it really quite cool how it moved from slide to slide like this. It was quite easy to add in all the details. The only hard thing I really found is that I haven't used it before, so it was quite hard to get a grip of and quite hard to kind of understand. But hopefully from a viewer's point of view, it's a bit different. Maybe a little bit eye-catching as well, rather than just a normal PowerPoint. I still need to add in verbal voiceover, but hopefully that goes quite well. I've done it already with some music, but just need to record my voiceover. Prezi was quite interesting. It's free as well. That's a really good advantage. So from a business point of view, it's not costly at all. It can be emailed, saved. You can present it remotely, so you don't even need to send it to someone.
And
So
it looks much more interesting than a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, it was quite hard to get used to there. That's the only disadvantage, I think. Just like the difficulty of it, but I think it's just with any new software or application, you just need to kind of get a grip of it.
Yeah.
The same with our Google Hangout, like that we're doing now.
Yeah.
So
That's
Excel, I found this really good. It's quite good from financial point of view, if that makes sense. So with numbers and doing sums and if functions, I really liked just the orderliness of it. That's probably the advantages. The disadvantages of Excel, it wouldn't be used for a presentation, but that's why it's not called PowerPoint presentation. Another disadvantage, what do you think a disadvantage of Excel might be?
It might, for some people, it might be hard to use. Like with all the different formulas, the if functions, a lot of people might not understand how to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
because we know how to use it, it's okay. But yeah, you're right. It might be hard to use for someone who hasn't used it.
Even to interpret it sometimes, it can be misguiding sometimes if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really neat and tidy though. If you use it in the right way, I think it could be really beneficial to a business, especially with perhaps stock checks, just keeping their just
Keeping the
list
inventory and everything.
available and things like that.
Yeah,
So with
definitely.
the track changes, again we use Word, and with this tag up here, review, and you can do track changes. So when I send this off to another colleague, they'll be able to look into it and actually see what I've changed. So I thought that was really interesting. Even from like what we've done today, if you're struggling with something, you can really see from someone else's point of view, and it's really easy. You don't have to be online at the same time to be able to notice what someone's done. You you can do it from any time zone, so you can send it to someone in another country and you can just look at it. So you could probably use just emails for that, really, to
Yeah.
send those over to each other. So those were all the tasks that I used. I'm going to stop sharing now. There we go.
Yeah. I've lost everyone. Can you see me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see you.
Okay. Let me attempt the screen sharing.
Don't know if
Thanks,
you can
Shannon.
hear me.
That
I
was
can't see
beautiful.
Shannon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, that's fine. I don't know why you can't see me.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let me attempt to find. The first one I'm gonna, just a minute. The first one I'm gonna show you is this is the tracking one. I haven't done, all my work that I've done is not on this laptop, but this is the tracking one that we did. As Shannon explained, where we send tracking to each other and just to see how you can make changes to somebody's work. I used Word on this one, and I think that was quite appropriate because with Word you can do the track sharing, obviously, and you
Yeah.
can get someone else to comment on your work and enable and help you make changes, and you can automatically accept the changes, and you don't have to like go through everything or have a meeting like to go through every step. So Word
Yeah.
was good with that because you can't do the track changing with anything else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was quite good, and if you help me with the changes and I accept it, then that's pretty much done. And I found Word to be very good with that. The other thing I found, the disadvantage with Word that I find is mostly it's people tend to go on and on and on, and you can end up with a very big booklet until when you're reading it, obviously you get bored and you don't get the context right because you're reading so much information. Whereas if you use something like PowerPoint, you're straight to the point, and then you'll explain your points, which means that you're not going to keep going over and over the same information
Yeah.
with bullet points. So that's what I did with this one. I'll also show you what I did with Excel. Similar to what Shannon showed us, it's pretty much a neat document. When you use Excel, you can open up different sheets, so you can amalgamate so much information into the one sheet, and they can go into different tabs, like these ones, and see different information, which you can amalgamate and bring together to show the PowerPoint, to show your work.
Yeah.
Also, you can also copy, like take a screenshot of your work and put it in a presentation when you're using Excel. So you can take it to your PowerPoint, and it will look professional, and it will show all your figures, because you can't do that in PowerPoint, do like formulas and stuff. So you can use
Yeah.
Excel and then just copy that and take the photo of that to your PowerPoint, and that is very presentable and looks professional, from a business point of view.
Yeah.
The other work I've got here, let me see yes, my how-to guide. my how-to guide, I used PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And, I haven't finished it yet, but I found that when I used PowerPoint, just like Shannon, not Shannon, Frankie explained, I could just, because what I'm trying to do is to talk about, the how-to guide of the softwares used in businesses. If I just do on a PowerPoint and put the points that I need to talk about, then it's easier to explain them, because then it's not coming out as you're trying to describe or explain, what you're saying. You just write you write the brief explanation, the brief words, and then you explain it. So I decided to use PowerPoint with this one, because that way then I won't end up describing, what I'm trying to say, the information. I'll just write the points and then talk about it. So I used PowerPoint on that one. The disadvantage that I found with it was that it's quite limiting, because sometimes you want to express more information, and obviously you can't, because it's a PowerPoint. You just need to write like brief notes, like what do you call it? Like numbers 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found that quite limiting, because sometimes, like here, you can see I've tried to write about business plans, and I'm saying the purpose. I'm going to change all this, because you can't do that in a PowerPoint. I just need to have said business plan, and then I'll talk about it. And I won't go into all this purpose. So sometimes you find that if you wanted to go into details, it's easier to use Word, or maybe present your work on even Excel and then just screenshot it to your PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I thought that Maria would appreciate the PowerPoint, because she didn't want descriptive information. She wanted just the bullet points, and then you explain your work. So that's what I did. And yeah, the other work that I have done is not on here on this laptop.
Okay.
So I'm unable to show it to you, but those are the 3 that I've done today that I can share with you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think if you try and stop sharing your screen, Rosie. I know you can't see me.
Let me try and do that. Is it back here and stop?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why my photo isn't there, but never mind. So, what did you guys think of OneDrive? I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I use OneDrive all the time to save my stuff in, like my Word and any assignments we do. I save it all in OneDrive. I don't use because my laptop is Google, so I can only save it to OneDrive.
Yeah.
Rather than an actual laptop, really.
Yeah. And it was really good with sharing things, because we could create our own folder and just drop every file that we wanted to share together into that, and then again, we didn't need to be together at the exact same time. We could look at it in our own time whenever we're free, rather than
collaborate.
Rather than a Google Hangout where we share screens and look at documents like that. At least with OneDrive, we could look anytime that we wanted. But obviously, the only disadvantage, I think, would have probably been you can't talk about it there and then. You would have to either email or make note of what you thought of it, or track changes or something like that to really remember what you thought of each document.
Yeah. The only disadvantage with the OneDrive, I love it so much, and I use it a lot even for my business, but sometimes you find that you're in this place where Wi-Fi is either not working properly, or you can't access it for whatever reason. And
so sometimes it does freeze quite a lot.
Yeah, it does. And if you don't have it on hard drive, then you're lost. You can't do anything else.
And businesses don't need that. Yeah.
That would be the only disadvantage.
Yeah. But other than that, it's great. It's great.
Personally, I didn't really like TitanPad, to be honest. I found it just looked really old-fashioned. It was really hard to
disorganized, more like it.
Yeah, disorganized, definitely. When you dropped a Word document or like any document into it, it would just push it all the text together.
Yeah.
It was so hard to read.
Overlapping the other work and everybody's work, and I just
it was like really jumbled, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't see how that would benefit a business. it would just waste a lot of time with any business work that you were trying to do with that,
Yeah.
unless someone
I
was
think
really
the
familiar
best
with
way
it.
to collaborate really is via like OneDrive, what we've done, and Google Hangouts, things
Yeah.
like that, and instant messaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google
Yeah.
Hangout has been really good now that we've got used to it.
And it's free.
Yeah,
Record it
that
like
is
we are
also
now.
an advantage for businesses is that they can phone people from New York, say, and they're in England, and it's free of charge. Whereas if you phone them, that would cost you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, it's free, and also that means they don't have to travel from London to New York to then have just a
Yeah,
meeting. They
everywhere.
can have it
Yeah.
like that. But no, I think it's been really good. I think we've learned a lot using all of the software that we have used.
Yeah.
It's something we
We've
already know.
we've overcome all the loopholes. Like today, when you couldn't log in, we managed to finally get.
Yeah.
Next time when you try it, it will be, easy to do.
Definitely.
I think that's definitely a disadvantage of Google Hangout, is that it can be quite hard and quite daunting when you haven't used it before, but obviously an advantage will be is that we've learnt from our mistakes and we can carry that on for in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're always looking at, when we analyse and evaluate what we've used, I think we always need to make sure with our piece of work we're looking at it from a business point of view.
Yeah.
I know that in future I'll definitely want to use some of these softwares and applications again, whether that be in a business or in our degree.
Yeah, because at the moment I use webinars. I don't know whether you're familiar with webinars for my business, but if it's so expensive, you have to it's a subscription every month.
Yeah.
So if you fail to pay your direct debit, then you're disconnected mid-air and all that. So I think Google Hangout is very good because it's free and I can use it the same way as a webinar.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to use more of the Google Hangout, and keep aside the webinars because they're quite expensive, the subscriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was
Google
fantastic.
Hangout for the win.
Yeah, and it was fantastic how we could, to let each other know of our Google Hangouts, it could be done through email. So there was nothing else that needed. It was all just there on our computer.
Yeah, you don't need all the speakers and all the wire, the gadgets, just simply your email and you're in.
Yeah, and I thought it was really good how we can share our screens with other people as well, so you could see what I had on my screen without actually being sat next to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also an advantage.
You can choose what to share. It's not like if you allow me to see your screen, I'm going to see everything. You can choose what to share.
Yeah.
In Hangout, and I think that's really very good because then you still keep your privacy.
Yeah.
And a great thing that we can record this like we are now is that even if colleagues weren't able to be present for the Hangout itself, they can always go back and watch it and see anything that they've missed.
Yeah, definitely. That's
or even new employees, if they've become late and they need some training, you can always do things like this to include them, and then that way they can literally watch it. Even if they're not at work, they can just watch it at home.
Yeah.
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 So yeah.
Great.
Brilliant.
Right.
Great work.
So I think that is our Google Hangout done now.
Yeah.
So
thank you guys.
Thank you guys for attending tonight.
So much, Shannon, for making sure you were in. And Frankie, thank you for setting it up.
That's okay. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. See you soon.